Have you ever sat down to do something important, like finishing an assignment, cleaning your room, or finally replying to that email you've been avoiding for weeks? And suddenly, you're on YouTube watching a cat learn how to play piano. Yeah, same. It's almost like your brain tricks you. You sit with full intention, I'm going to be productive today, and 2 hours later, you're deep in a Wikipedia rabbit hole learning about how giraffes can't cough. I mean, useful information? Not really, but somehow it feels urgent in that moment. So here's the thing. We all procrastinate. Every single one of us. But here's the part that might surprise you. It's not actually because you're lazy. I know, that's what you've probably been telling yourself for years. I'm just lazy, I have no discipline. But nope, that's not the real reason. And once you understand what's actually going on, everything starts to make way more sense. Let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I had this project that was super important. I cleared my whole day, sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and told myself, okay, let's go. No distractions. 30 minutes later, I was organizing my desktop icons by color. Why? I don't know. Did it matter that my recycling bin was next to my music folder? Not at all. But in that moment, that somehow felt like priority number one. And when I finally snapped out of it, the guilt hit. That familiar sinking feeling. Why do I keep doing this to myself? What's wrong with me? Sound familiar? Because if you're human, I bet you've had that same internal conversation. And it always comes with this heavy side dish of guilt. You're not just avoiding the task, you're beating yourself up for avoiding the task, which makes you feel worse, which makes you want to avoid it even more. Congratulations! You've just entered the procrastination loop. And that's where most of us get stuck. We assume the loop exists because we're lazy, like we don't have enough willpower or discipline. Or maybe we're just destined to binge watch Netflix forever. But here's the twist. Procrastination isn't about laziness at all. In fact, it's your brain trying to protect you. Think about that for a second. Procrastination is not your enemy. It's actually your brain's weird little defense mechanism. And here's why. Most of the time when we procrastinate, it's not because we hate work. It's because the thing we're trying to do feels heavy. Maybe it's overwhelming. Maybe it's boring. Maybe it's scary, like starting that essay when you don't even know how to begin, or applying for that job when you secretly worry you're not qualified, or calling that person back because you're scared of what they'll say. Your brain senses that discomfort and says, "Oh no, danger, let's escape." And the fastest way to escape? Scroll, snack, nap, watch cat videos, anything that feels safe and easy. That's procrastination. It's not laziness, it's emotional avoidance. And here's the really interesting part. Psychologists have studied this. They found that procrastination is less about time management and more about mood management. You're not putting off the task itself, you're putting off the feeling you think that task will bring you. Stress, fear, boredom, uncertainty. So you trade it for a tiny moment of relief. That's why cleaning your desk suddenly feels urgent. It gives you instant control in a situation where you feel stuck. And now, let's be real. It's kind of funny how universal this is. Like, if procrastination was truly laziness, then how come you can spend 4 straight hours building the perfect Minecraft castle, but you can't spend 15 minutes writing an essay? You're clearly not lazy, you're just motivated by different emotions. The castle feels fun, rewarding, safe. The essay feels like doom. And here's the aha moment. Procrastination is your brain's way of saying, this task feels threatening to my self-worth. Not threatening like a tiger chasing you, but threatening like, if I do this and fail, I'll feel bad about myself. Or if I start this, I'll realize I don't know what I'm doing. That's why we avoid. It's self-protection disguised as laziness. So let's pause here. If you've been calling yourself lazy, stop. You're not lazy. You're human. You're wired to avoid pain and seek comfort. Procrastination is just that wiring playing out in modern life. But here's the good news. Once you know this, you can start outsmarting it. And before we get into solutions, let me just say it's okay to laugh at yourself a little here. We all have our legendary procrastination moments. like when you decide you can't possibly start studying until you've reorganized your sock drawer, or when you suddenly feel an urgent need to watch one quick video on how bread is made. Spoiler, it's never just one video. Okay, so what do we do about it? If procrastination is about avoiding uncomfortable feelings, then the way to beat it isn't to shout at yourself or wait for motivation to magically appear. The way to beat it is to make the task feel lighter, safer, and more doable. Let's break that down into a few simple shifts. First, shrink the task. Big, scary tasks are like monsters in the dark. They feel 10 times bigger than they actually are. But if you shine a light on them, you realize, oh, it's not that bad. Instead of, I need to write a 10-page paper, make it, I'll just write the first sentence. Instead of, I need to clean the whole kitchen, make it, I'll just wash one plate. It sounds silly, but the moment you start, the resistance drops. Action kills anxiety. Second, change your environment. Sometimes procrastination isn't about the task, it's about the triggers around you. If your phone is sitting on your desk buzzing every 3 minutes, good luck focusing. If your bed looks extra cozy, your brain will keep whispering, maybe just lie down for 5 minutes. So set up your space to make the good choice easier. Hide the distractions, make the task the path of least resistance. Third, make it rewarding. Remember, your brain avoids tasks that feel like pain, so flip it, attach a reward. Tell yourself, okay, once I finish this, I get to watch an episode of my favorite show. Or when I'm done, I'm treating myself to an iced coffee. Small rewards train your brain to see the task as something worth doing. And here's one more bonus trick, the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it right away. If it takes longer, just do the first 2 minutes of it. Open the doc, write one line, put on your workout shoes. Starting is the hardest part, and once you're in motion, it's so much easier to keep going. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, yeah, but sometimes I procrastinate on stuff I want to do. True, that's because even exciting things can feel overwhelming when they matter to us, like starting a passion project or posting your first video. It's scary because you care, but that's actually a good sign. It means you're growing. So instead of beating yourself up, try flipping the script. Next time you catch yourself procrastinating, instead of saying, ugh, I'm so lazy, say, okay, my brain is protecting me. It thinks this task is dangerous. How can I make it feel smaller, easier, safer? That one mindset shift takes away the shame and gives you back control. And let's be honest, shame never works as motivation. You can't bully yourself into success, at least not for long. If calling yourself lazy actually worked, none of us would procrastinate anymore. What does work is compassion plus strategy. Think about it. If your best friend was struggling to get started, you wouldn't call them useless or lazy. You'd probably say, hey, just try a little bit. You've got this. Imagine if you treated yourself the same way. So let's go deeper into how to actually rewire this. Here's a secret. Procrastination thrives in the gap between intention and action. You intend to do the thing, you even know it's important, but between that thought and actually doing it, there's a gap. And in that gap, your brain sneaks in distractions, doubts, and excuses. The trick is not to close the gap with willpower. Willpower burns out fast. The trick is to close the gap with habits. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation for that. You don't wake up and say, I'll see if I feel inspired to brush today. You just do it because it's a habit. It's built into your life. What if you could make the important tasks in your day feel like that? Automatic, less negotiable, less dramatic. That's the long-term antidote to procrastination. Now, I'm not saying you need to become some robotic productivity machine. Life is messy. You're human. You'll still procrastinate sometimes. But if you build tiny habits, those little wins pile up, and the big, scary tasks start to feel less like mountains and more like speed bumps. Here are a few more practical takeaways you can use right away. 1. Use time boxing. Instead of saying, I'll finish this whole project, just say, I'll work on it for 25 minutes.
set a timer, that's it. Once the timer's up, you can stop guilt-free. What usually happens, though, once you start, you keep going. The hardest part was starting. 2, make tasks visible. A lot of procrastination happens because the task feels abstract. Work on assignment is vague. Write page 1 of assignment is clear. Break the fog. Write your tasks somewhere you can see them. Make them concrete, not floating in your head. 3, find accountability. Tell a friend, I'm sending you my draft by tonight. Or join a study group where everyone is working on their own thing. Humans are wired to show up for others, sometimes more than for ourselves. Use that wiring in your favor. 4, learn your energy cycles. Notice when your brain feels sharpest. Morning, afternoon, late at night. Put your most important tasks there. Don't waste your peak energy scrolling TikTok, then expect to write an essay when you're half asleep. Match the task to the energy. And here's one of my favorite reframes. Instead of saying, I have to do this, try saying, I choose to do this. It sounds tiny, but it changes the whole vibe. I have to feels like a punishment. I choose to feels like power. Even if it's something boring like laundry, you're choosing it because you value clean clothes. That little mindset shift takes you from victim to owner of your actions. Now, here's the inspiring part. When you start applying these small tweaks, something amazing happens. You realize procrastination isn't this permanent flaw in you. It's just a habit, a brain pattern. And brain patterns can be changed. You're not broken. You're just running old software. And the fact that you're watching this right now means you're already updating it. Imagine this. You sit down to study, and instead of spiraling into guilt, you just open your notebook and say, I'll do 5 minutes. And 5 minutes turns into 20. Or you've been avoiding that scary email, but you tell yourself, okay, I'll just type 1 line. Suddenly, it doesn't feel so heavy anymore. That's freedom. That's you breaking the loop. And here's a thought that might really shift your perspective. Procrastination can actually point you toward growth. Think about the tasks you procrastinate the most on. They're often the ones that matter the most to you. Why? Because the more meaningful something is, the scarier it feels to mess it up. That essay, that job application, that creative project, those are the things tied to your identity, your future, your dreams. That's why your brain panics and runs away. But that's also why leaning into them is where your growth is. Procrastination is basically a spotlight saying, hey, this thing matters, pay attention. So next time you catch yourself avoiding something, instead of just asking, how do I force myself to do this, try asking, why does this matter to me? What am I scared of here? Sometimes understanding the fear dissolves half the resistance. Now, let's wrap this up with something important. I want you to stop seeing procrastination as a personal failure and start seeing it as a signal that your brain needs safety, clarity, or encouragement. A signal that you're human. And the fact that you procrastinate sometimes doesn't mean you're doomed to fail. It just means you have the same brain wiring as the rest of us. Here's the real secret. Progress doesn't come from waiting for perfect motivation. Progress comes from showing up, even messy, even scared, even unprepared. Progress comes from starting small and letting momentum carry you. And listen, you're not lazy. You never were. You've just been telling yourself the wrong story. So rewrite it. From now on, when you procrastinate, don't say, I'm lazy. Say, okay, my brain is protecting me. I can handle this. Then take one tiny step forward. That's it. That's how you build confidence. One step, one win, one moment at a time. And here's my challenge for you. After this video, pick one thing you've been putting off. Not 10, just one. And do the tiniest version of it. If it's writing an essay, open the doc and write the title. If it's exercising, put on your shoes and step outside. If it's that email, type hi and save it. you'll see what happens. That small action unlocks energy. And once you feel that, you'll realize it's not about laziness. It never was. So, if this video made you feel a little lighter, if it helped you see yourself in a new way, then stick around. Hit subscribe not just because it helps the channel, but because I want to keep growing with you. You're not alone in this. We're all figuring it out together. And the next time you catch yourself procrastinating, remember, your brain is just trying to protect you. But you're stronger than that fear. You don't need to fight the monster all at once. Just take one small step. That's how change begins.